طيب بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Tonight's class is on beginner's fiqh from Ad-Durar Al-Bahiyyah. The author rahimahullah says باب الخلع وإذا خالع الرجل امرأته كان أمرها إليها لا ترجع إليه بمجرد الرجعة ويجوز بالقليل والكثير ما لم يجاوز ما صار إليها منه فلا ولا بد من التراضي بين الزوجين على الخلع أو إلزام الحاكم مع الشقاق بينهما أو بينهما وهو فسخ وعدته حيضة. The author, he says باب الخلع, the chapter of al-khul'a. Like we explained in the previous classes, khul'a is talaq, talaq is khul'a. The translation of the word talaq means divorce, but sometimes it has a more specific meaning. And sometimes talaq is a specific type of separation. A specific type of separation. Firaq or infiraq, or iftiraq or infisal. So talaq in general means divorce. But the specific usage and meaning of it is a specific type of separation that is different from khula. Me and brother Kareem no longer together. We're not together anymore. What happened? We got a divorce. If you translate into Arabic, we got a talaq. But in actuality, Sister Karima, got a what? A khula. Everyone understand this? And it's extremely important to understand the words that are being used and not to mix things incorrectly where they do not belong, because that's where the confusion comes. Everyone understand this? So the khula is a type of divorce. Al-talaq is the general concept of divorce, but in actuality, talaq is a specific type of divorce and a specific type of separation. All that have that? Tight. That's first and foremost. Secondly is the khula, just like the talaq, has been legislated for many wisdoms. Many wisdoms. Preserving, establishing and preserving and protecting the rights of the Muslim woman, and not allowing every single thing to be in the hands of the man, which he uses and abuses and monopolizes. Even though there are things that still remain in the hands of the man. So let's not get too far off track on some type of liberal or 2.0 Islam or Western Islam or modern Islam or progressive Islam or academic Islam or politically correct Islam. There's always still going to be some type of dealings with the man and things being in his what? His hand. But the request, the demand, the initiation, etc. And opposite to the talaq. Even though that could be initiated and forced by a woman as well. A woman could smoke her husband out of the hole. Everyone understand this? Metaphorically speaking. She can force him to give the talaq. Everyone understand this? It's not something which is impossible. Everyone understand this? Right. So therefore the khula, like the other types of divorce, have been legislated for tremendous wisdom. Tremendous wisdom. And from that wisdom, which is tremendous, is the establishment and the preservation of the woman's rights and her freedom, and that no one has ultimate autonomy or authority over her. Everyone understand this? Secondly is, oftentimes, a husband is a good husband. He's a sincere husband. He's a good brother, a sincere brother, a sweet brother, a kind brother. But there are certain necessary and mandatory things that the woman needs and demands from her husband that he just cannot provide. His best isn't good enough. His best just isn't good enough. All right? He's not abusing her or mistreating her, but the best that he can give her just does not meet the mark and is far from meeting the mark. And it isn't something he can change and work on. Or if it's something that he can change and he can work on it, but it's going to come with a great deal of patience, a long struggle. It's a big thing in which he has to try, a large will he has to grind to turn with a lot of sweat and a lot of muscle, a lot of elbow grease to get it to turn. And then eventually it's a slow process of him moving that wheel. But just the fact of getting a wheel out of it, one position, it's stuck and it's jammed and it's rusted, it takes a lot of strength that the woman says, I'm not I'm unwilling to be there for that because it may not even work in any end. Everyone understand this? So therefore, it could be an issue of money. It could be an issue of time. It could be an issue of him physically, morally, etc. All right? So this is one of the wisdoms of the khula being legislated. Khairan, inshallah. طيب. It's one of the issues or one of the reasons why khula has been established. Giving a woman her value and her status and the ability to do things which she needs and which she wants in her deen and in her dunya. The author, rahimahullah, he says, and before we move forward to the speech of the author, just like talaq, there are things on which the ulama agree pertaining to the khula. Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah. 7. And then there are things over which the ulama what? They differ, they disagree. There are points and rulings of the khula which are clearly proven by the text, the nusus, the ayat and the hadith. And there are issues of the khula, like talaq, which are based off of ijtihad. Based off of nazar, looking and thinking and investigating and trying their best. The khula, just like the talaq, has issues, whether they're direct or indirect, that are based off of, impacted by culture, and by time and place, location. Just like the talaq. And there are other things which are universal, from Arab to Asian to African to Hispanic to Caucasian, etc. Everyone understand this? But there are certain rulings that you'll find in some books of fiqh, certain books of fiqh, which are based off of customs and cultural norms of Arabs. All right? Or customs and cultural norms of the Turkish and of these people and that people, like any other issue of fiqh. But especially something that pertains to social life, like marriage and like what? Divorce. Dowry, sadaq, mahr, interracial marriage, 40-year-old man versus marrying a 20-year-old woman. Is that okay? Is that recommended? A 40-year-old woman marrying a 20-year-old man. Can a woman be older than her husband by 3 years, by 2 years, by 5 years? And which you may find in certain books of fiqh, a person may say, yukra, is disliked. That's based off of a what? A cultural norm, etc. طيب? So that's something that which is very important for us to know and for us to understand with regards to the khula, just like with regards to the actual talaq. طيب. The author, rahimahullah, he says, وَإِذَا خَالَعَ الرَّجُلُ امْرَأَتَهُ كَانَ أَمْرُهَا إِلَيْهَا. Very interesting here. And that is that the author says, خَالَعَ الرَّجُلُ, that when the man gives the mukhala'a, the khula. And you may read other places, خَالَعَتِ الْمَرْأَةُ الرَّجُلَ. She's the one making the mukhala'a, initiating the khula. Before we go that far, it says here in the footnotes, هو فراق الرجل زوجته ببدل يحصل له. The author has explained this in another book, نيل الأوتار, is that al-khula is فراق الرجل. It's for a man to separate from his wife. ببدل يحصل له, with a compensation. A compensation that he obtains. Money, something material, something of some type of property or value of property that he gets from her. They separate and they split based off of a what? Money. Or as many people mention the term fida, a ransom. A woman wants to leave her husband for whatever reason, and he doesn't necessarily want to divorce her. He doesn't necessarily wish to grant her this divorce or separation for whatever reason. And she offers him to give him something. I'll pay you back my mahr. I'll give you back the gold that you bought me. I'll give you some money. Just let me go. Leave me. And he says, oh, okay, sure. If you're going to give me the gold, then marhaba. But before that, he says what? No, I love you. I want to be with you. You're so pious and righteous. But when the money comes up, what? The human being, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he tells us, if the son of Adam had 2 valleys, لو كان لابن آدم واديان من مال, 2 valleys of wealth, he would have won a what? A 3rd one. Nothing can fill that burning hole in the belly of the son of Adam. All right? So therefore, unfortunately, the reality of money And we know that money talks. Inna al-mala la yamshi. Al-fulus, say what? Does what? Yamshi. Wa ghayruhu, we all know what, the other things besides wealth does. Everyone understand this? Money talks and what? Or not la yamshi, yantiq. Yeah, that's the correct way. Yantiq, aywa. And the mal what? Yantiq. Wa ghayruhu yamshi. طيب. So therefore, the husband does not want to divorce his wife. He does not want to become separated from his wife for whatever reason. He really wants her, he loves her, he's concerned, or he's just trying to hold her and oppress her and wrong her, like many brothers do. They can't treat the woman kindly, they can't treat the woman honorably, nor can they divorce the woman. It's really messed up how many of us are. Okay, Allahul Musta'an, yani. And then the third strike or the third black eye, the busted nose or the broken jaw, the missing tooth, the busted lip, on top of the two black eyes, is when the brother gets mad when someone marries their ex-wife. So I couldn't treat her kindly, right? I did not honor her request of divorcing her unless it was a big fight. Had to go here, ask this person, involve this person, right? Those two bad things. Then number three, after I finally divorce her and let her go, after all of the struggle and the drama, she gets remarried and I do what? I want to cause more problems. I want to huff and puff. It's a really sad situation with many brothers, okay? If you love your wife so much, you care about her so much, keep her and keep her honorably. Treat her kindly. As long as what she's asking for and what she's requesting is reasonable. As far as if she's being unreasonable, extremely ungrateful, unappreciative, that's a different story. But if she's asking for reasonable stuff, reasonable treatment, and you refuse to give her basic rights, then at least divorce her kindly, without a fuss and without a fight. She has to go to your father, go to this imam, have this brother call you, make a scene, make some type of embarrassment and some pressure. Then he says, all right, you know what? You want to get divorced? No problem. It's mushkila. If you don't want to be with the sister, then do what? Assalamu alaikum. I'm sorry I couldn't be the husband that I was. Have a good life. We'll talk about the kids. We can agree respectfully, peacefully, honor each other. I'm not going to slander you. You don't slander me. I'm not going to get on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I'm not going to make a blog about you or a vlog about you, spreading your secrets, airing out your dirty laundry, all the times that you what? Didn't wake up for Fajr, and all the crazy stuff that you had on your phone and your laptop, and all the other embarrassing secrets, right? I'm not going to do that. And if you can't divorce a woman and let her go peacefully and respectfully, then live with her honorably. And if you can't live with her honorably, then what? But last but not least, is when the divorce takes place, don't make a scene and a fight and just be a disgruntled person when a woman remarries. And the same is applicable to a husband as well. Many women, they don't honor their husbands. They don't respect their husbands. They don't obey their husbands. They give their husbands a very, very, very difficult and hard time, right? And then when he wants to leave her, she gives him an even what? More difficult time. You can't divorce me. How you going to divorce me? I was there for you. I had this for you. I did this for you when you didn't have nothing, before you were this big shot. Now you want to say, I don't want to be in this marriage no more. She gives him a very, very, very hard time. And then when she hears that he wants to get remarried, what? Strike number 3. She airs out his dirty laundry. You used to do this haram act in the bedroom. You asked me to do this for you. I read Shaykh Uthaymeen's fatwa, and you threw the book across the bedroom. Said Shaykh Uthaymeen doesn't live here. Nor does he pay the bills. What? In this house, in this death. Everyone understand this? So we gotta be careful, guys. It's very simple. No marriage is perfect. No man is perfect. No woman is perfect. We are all sons of Adam. We are all sinners on one level or another. We all make mistakes. We all make errors. What's important is try your best to make the marriage work. If the marriage does not work, it's not meant to work, no problem with that. There are people who are more pious than you, closer to Allah, and more righteous who got divorced. Don't ever forget that. In which people, I don't want to get divorced, or, I don't. Who are you to say that? And Allah legislated it and sent it down in the Quran. You understand this? And the things have become so bad and so terrible in our times, and the culture has become so powerful over Islam, that a sheikh will give a talk about divorce or write a book, and someone will have the audacity that says, why did you talk about divorce tonight? Why would you speak about divorce in front of the people? Wallahi. They'll say this. Well, why would you give a talk about talaq? You're giving people the idea to get divorced. You're teaching people to get divorced. You're encouraging them to get divorced. You find some jahil coming up to a learned person, criticizing him, censuring him, and repudiating him for talking about something that Allah spoke on in several places in the Quran. Rather, there's an entire what? Surah. And this goes to show the sad reality that the people are not reading the Quran. They're not reading the Quran. The average person is not finishing the Quran once a month. And that's because you would never ask that question if you were familiar with إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمْ, when you divorce women, فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ. Allah says this. Whole entire surah about what? Talaq. Let alone Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Nisa, okay? Al-Mumtahina, Al-Mujadila, etc. Everyone understand this? All of these different ayats talk about marriage and divorce. So it goes to show you that we have become so far removed from familiarizing ourselves with the words of Allah. And when a person gives a speech, gives a talk, and we look at it as a strange and weird thing. And a person is encouraging people to get divorced. So has Allah encouraged us to get divorced then? Is Allah putting the idea for us to split up our families and break up our families? What type of ignorance is this? Unfortunately, it's a sad reality that many of us have. And if you're familiar with the Quran, there's never any criticism that you're going to make on someone for talking about something, unless you yourself are far from that. And you're not reading about it and studying it and just reading the word. The word is familiar. Talaq. Mentioned where? In the Quran. Are we Christians? Do we go to the Father and say, Father, I have sinned? Is there a Jesuit in the masjid? Is there a Father Fulan in the masjid? Are we Muslims or are we Christians? Are we following their batil, distorted Sharia, or our Sharia, in which there is the legislation of divorce? And it does not mean that you have to give someone the idea to do what? To get divorced. Rather, as we have explained in the previous classes, sometimes divorce is obligatory and sometimes it's recommended, depending on the situation. All right? So therefore, it's something that we have to keep in mind, guys. You live with your wife kindly. If you can't live with her kindly, then you let her go respectfully. And once you let her go respectfully, don't get mad and upset while you do what? When she remarries, especially if she remarries someone that's better than you, has more money than you, stronger than you, more knowledgeable than you, more handsome than you, or someone that has a kinder and softer heart than you. And he honors her like you couldn't do for 20 years, or for 10 years, or for 3 years. And brothers, they always complain, I divorced my wife and Fulan married her, and this one and that one. But they don't sit and look themselves in the mirror or stand in the mirror and says, you divorced what? Your wife. So how you want to get mad at anyone for what? That's just ultimate stupidity. Let alone the fact that you beat her up, you abused her, you didn't give her her rights, you ignored her. You can't get mad. All right? So we have to really, we need a serious reality check. Starting with myself, firstly, all of us, we need a real reality check when it comes to these rulings of marriage and divorce. And we must have sincerity. We must have ikhlas. Tayyib. So the author, rahimahullah, Shawkani, rahimahullah, he says that when a man does this mukhala'a, kana amruha ilayha. This is the first ruling, is that her affair is with her. Meaning, she chooses what to do. She offers the money. If he demands that, he takes the money. After that, khalas. She's in charge now. Tayyib. He then says, la tarji'u ilayhi bi mujarrad al-raj'a. She can't go back to him, nor can he take her back or want her back by the raj'a, like the talaq. The man pronounced the talaq, and then 2 weeks later he says, honey, I love you, I want you back, let's make up. Bismillah. It doesn't need, no wakil is needed, or wali, no witnesses are needed, no new mahar, no new sadaq, etc. No new contract. No one has to know outside of the household. You don't have to know that I divorced my wife. The father or the mother-in-law, etc. doesn't have to what? Doesn't have to know. Raj'a. As far as once the khula is pronounced, once it is put into effect, now she can't just go back to him by what? Raj'a. There's no I love you, I'll take you back, we're intimate with each other. That cannot be done anymore. That what? That cannot be done. Now before we move forward, what is khula? Is a khula a type of talaq? Or is it a specific entity by itself? In other words, a talaq could be a woman says, divorce me. And he says, no, get out of here. Get the heck out of here. Get out my face. I'm not giving you no divorce. Like brothers say, right? And then she says, pulls out some money. Or she says, here, take the ring. Or she does what? flicks the ring at him, take off the jewelry, take whatever you want. And he says, all right, no problem. Is that a talaq or is that a khula? Who initiated the separation? The woman. Did she offer him money? She did. So in actuality, that, he says, you're a talaq. I've made talaqt. That is considered a khula or is it not a khula? And this is one of the tricky issues of the khula. Is it considered a talqa or is it considered other than a talqa? Everyone understand this? A talqa would be the other rulings of talaq. The 3 menstrual cycles, living with the husband, not covering up, you can take her back whenever you want to, etc. Right? And you only have 3 times to do it. Actuality, what? 2 times, like we explained. Everyone understand this? Or those who say that once the khula has been placed into effect, it is now a fasakh, and the marital contract is null, it's void. Everyone understand this or not? طيب. The author, he says, ويجوز بالقليل والكثير ما لم يجاوز ما صار إليها منه فلا. And it's lawful for the khula to be made with a little bit of money or a lot of money, as long as it does not exceed what he originally gave her. So he gave her a sadaq of $5,000 US. According to this, she can offer him $1 or $4,999 or 5,000, but not $5,000.01 or $1. That can't be done. It cannot go what? Beyond. And ulama, they differ on this issue. Is it permissible for the khula to be made with more than what he gave her? Those who say that it cannot be done, there are different reasons why they say this and why they hold this view. From those reasons and from the things which force them to take this stance is that it's oppression. It's wronging her. You took her, you married this woman, let's say you took her virginity, she can't get her virginity back. So why does she have to pay? First and foremost, she's paying for something that she can't get back, let alone more. That's wrong. At least let it be within هذا هو. I would understand this. And there are others who say that it can be done with any amount, a little or a lot. Another very important issue is, can the khula be done? Is the khula valid biduni iwad, without any exchange or ransom? A woman says, divorce me, and the husband says, I can't divorce you. I don't have the strength. I love you too much. Even though I know our marriage, our love has died, our relationship is sour, we really can't get along with each other, we fight all the time, but I can't do it. I don't want to be the one to say I divorced you. Give me the khula. And he says, okay, no problem. And he doesn't demand any money. He doesn't request any money. There's no ransom. Is that lawful or not? There are 2 main views from among the ulama about Islam. And perhaps the correct view, and Allah surely knows best, is that the khula can be done يصح بدون عوض. It can be done without any exchange of money. Just like the similitude of a prisoner, a captive of war, a POW, right? In which the country says, you can now have the prisoner. No ransom, no money, no exchange. Tfaddal. La bas. Can that be done? Or is it a condition that it what? Be some type of exchange. Many ulama say that it must be done. And it has to be an exchange of wealth. There has to be a ransom. Fi maftadat bihi. And others, they say that's the asl. And that is in most cases that a man who doesn't want to divorce his wife is going to be stubborn and pig-headed unless there is some an incentive to let her go. As far as if he lets her go without that incentive, then they say what? There's nothing wrong with that. And that is from the character of the believer, to be tolerant. Everyone understand this? To be clement in all of his what? Dealings. You owe someone money, you give them back more. You weigh something, you give them a little extra. It cones the volume. It's the sugar or the flour is not just what? Flat, it's what? It's a little extra. Everyone understand this? Oh, you don't have change for 20? Don't worry about it. Just give me such and such. وهكذا. Everyone understand this? خير inshallah. So that's the issue in itself. Moving forward, he says, ولا بد من التراضي بين الزوجين على الخلع. And it's a must that there be taradin, that there be mutual consent and mutual pleasure between the two. They're pleased with the contract, i.e., no one is forced or coerced. No one is forced or coerced to deliver or to accept the khula. He says, أو إلزام الحاكم مع الشقاق بينهما. He says, or another instance in which there doesn't have to be the taradi, there doesn't have to be the mutual consent, or both sides are pleased and they accept it, when the ruler, the hakim, breaks it up and splits it up. He abates it, he annuls it. He says, Brother Kareem, Sister Karima has come to me and she has provided the proof and the evidence that you are not a good husband, or you're a great husband, but you're not a good husband for her. And you refuse to divorce her. You are stubborn and obstinate. You don't want to let her go because of embarrassment, money, culture, whatever the reason is. This marriage must end. It has to stop. And if you do not divorce her, here at this court, we will deliver an issue and mandate the separation. So here is an instance in which a taradi is not a what? Condition. Because the husband is saying, no, I don't want to divorce her. And the judge is saying what? You must. So there's no longer an issue of taradi. He's not radin. He's not pleased with that issue. You understand this? Now, another very important issue is the United States of America or Canada or the United Kingdom or Australia or any other type of Western country in which the Muslims are the minority. And oftentimes the Muslims are so split up, so separated. Oftentimes the Muslims are poor. Muslims have bad infrastructure, horrible political representation, etc. And oftentimes the people who are trying to practice the correct Islam, the pure Orthodox Islam, they're trying to implement the Sunnah, oftentimes they are the poorest of the people. And oftentimes they are the most scattered and torn of the people, unfortunately. So therefore, what happens when a woman wants to get a divorce? She needs to get a divorce. The husband refuses. There's no hakim. There's no court. There's nothing close or similar to a court. I don't understand this. What happens now? What do we do? Is it valid? Is it permissible? Is it correct for us to say that the imam of the masjid or the resident scholar, the local mufti in the masjid, he has his witnesses, he has his proof, he has his evidence, he has his office, and he writes up a paper, he stamps something, he notarizes something, issuing a divorce. And that Brother Kareem, Sister Karima is no longer your wife. Can he do this? Does he have the autonomy for this? Does he have the authority to do this? Or is it a condition that is a hakim and is a mahkama shar'iyah, an actual Islamic court or Sharia court? And alhamdulillah, in certain countries, I've seen a few documentaries and read some articles, certain countries, they have allowed the Muslims to have certain Sharia courts, such as a Sharia divorce court. No one's hand is going to get cut off, all right? But there is divorce in marriage. And they allow it, they mandate it, so on and so forth. But oftentimes that isn't the case. So what do we do now? Does the imam or the resident scholar or the local mufti, does he take the status and the position of the hakim? And what is his qualifications? Or what are his qualifications? What is his qualification? Is he studied somewhere? Has he actually taken these issues? Does he have a library? Is he reading? Does he have connection with the scholar? So on and so forth. Is he a scholar himself? And what type of person is he? Is he someone who's naive? Is he someone who's easily tricked and fooled? Is he someone who is allowed, or the wool is pulled over his eyes, he's hoodwinked easily? Or does he investigate and search? Does he have good thoughts of Sister Karima in his office crying? Tears are running down her niqab. She's in the office, she's crying, subhanAllah. He says, here, take some tea. He tells the student, get her some Kleenex, get her some napkins. She's crying and crying and crying. The whole desk is wet from her tears, from under her niqab. Does he have good thoughts of Sister Karima? Or does he have bad thoughts of her? In which he says, I'm not saying that you're a liar, Sister Karima, but it is possible. It's possible. You could be lying. And in most cases, what? You're lying. Or if you're not lying, there's some extra mustard on this sandwich. Just a bit too much. Because something that, wait a second. You just said that Brother Kareem was working at IKEA, and then you saw them with another sister in this section, in the sporting goods section. IKEA, does have a sporting goods section? It's Walmart, right? Or Target. So it's some type of what? Inconsistency in your story. Is that a mistake, a wahm, or is it a sign that you're what? that you're not telling the truth, Sister Karima. And some of your tears may not be organic. They may not be natural. And she's running game. And we all know what the poet said. What? Shame? What? Shame on you for trying to what? Run game on someone, on a mufti. Everyone understand this? So the concept of Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah and others have mentioned that the qadi has to have a specific attitude towards the people. Abdurrahman ibn Mahdi rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, خصلتان لا يستقيم فيهما حسن الظن الحكم والحديث. Abdurrahman ibn Mahdi, the teacher of Imam Ahmed and the disciple of Shu'bah, he said 2 times in which you cannot have husn al-dhan. 2 fields, 2 careers in which there is no what? Husn al-dhan. And they are al-hukm, judgment, judiciary issues. And what? Number 2 is what? Hadith. Oh, inshallah, that's the right way. Inshallah, he's a trustworthy narrator. No, he could have made a mistake. He could have fallen into an error. I mean, understand this? And this also destroys the doubt of those who say, a trustworthy person told us this. A trustworthy brother, khabar thiqa. A trustworthy brother told us that Fulan said this in the lecture. A trustworthy brother said that he saw him sitting with this innovator. He may be trustworthy, and that's for argument's sake, let alone the fact if he's a liar, or zani, or wife beater, or thief. But for argument's sake, he's what? Trustworthy. But that does not mean that he's free from what? A wahm, a mistake and an error. And he misunderstood something and misinterpreted something. That's not actually what happened. And the proof that is a big possibility that he's waqa fi wahm is that he's done this what? In the past. Or his story is inconsistent. So what was he wearing? He was wearing a red hoodie with such and such. And then another version says, no, it was a blue hoodie. And it was at this masjid. Oh no, that's another recording. Your whole narration is what? Sloppy. So we can't even take what you say, even if you are thiqa. No, not telling the truth. Because the truth is based off of accuracy. Everyone understand this? And that's why many of the Sahaba and the Salaf, from time to time, they would say about something that was wrong, they would say, Kadhaba Adu-Allah. The enemy of Allah has what? Has lied. And he's not a liar. But he meant, Akhbara bi khilaf al-waqi'. The scholars of the Arabic language, they use kadhib for 2 meanings, 1 or 2 meanings. One is actual and intentional lie. And secondly is al-ikhbaru bi khilaf al-waqi'. As when someone says something which is inaccurate, we'll say what? Kadhabta. In actuality, a lie is something which is inaccurate, regardless, intentional or not. But if you melt it down, a lie is nothing more than something which is what? It didn't happen, period. Whether it was intentional or unintentional, it's a lie. Everyone understand this? So therefore, this sister in his office and brothers who give the khula and they grant divorce, oftentimes, and I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. Don't just think I'm just trying to be funny or make you laugh. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, wallahi. I've seen it. A sister come crying, boo-hooing, shaking, shoulders bouncing. Oh, subhanAllah, a brother such and such, and he doesn't such and such, and he's such and such. And the naive, gullible imam, he says, oh, come to the office, blah, 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 and he gives her a divorce. And then, that's in the morning, that's 11 a.m. Next you know, Salat al-Dhuhr, Brother Kareem comes. Yo, was it you who divorced my wife? Was it you who gave, no, I wasn't like that. La, 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 la. Let's take this walk real quick. Now, and it's what? Caution now. And he says, how are you just going to divorce my wife without speaking to me first? How are you just going to take her story and her narration? Did she tell you the other side of the story? Now it's a different what? It's a different story. So the imam is in serious trouble now. For one, speaking and representing Allah's deen without the proper knowledge, let alone the fact of what if Brother Kareem is what? Not the one for the what? For the nursery rhymes. Everyone understand this? Now you're in trouble now. I'm not Brother Fulan. I'm not following you around asking you if you want some fruit or tea. Yeah, sheikh. I don't care nothing about you being a sheikh or whatever country or wherever you come from. You have no right to step into my personal marital affairs without what? Consulting me. Now, it's a problem now. Everyone understand this? And honestly, Brother Kareem is not 100% what? Wrong. Now, you doing physical harm to the imam, that's a different story. Everyone understand this? That's a what? But maybe some imams need what? Physical harm. And then they'll get the lesson to do what? Be mindful of what you say. And everyone is not peace going and peace loving and happy go easy. All right? I don't care who you are. You have no authority in my household. I don't care who you are and what sheikh says such and such. Who are you to make a ruling without doing it the proper way? As the narration states, the narration which is mentioned, whether it's authentic or not, he said, point to the son. Whenever you make a ruling, ala mithli hadha, that's the fashhad awda. Bear witness to something like this or leave it alone. Something that's clear. And you're talking about a man and woman no longer being lawful for each other. Husband and wife, daughter, father, stepson. It's not a simple and small issue. So those who say that Muslims can do this in the United States, and it is a necessity, and there is no hakim, there's no mahkama. If you're going to do it, make sure that you have the proper knowledge, number one. If you're going to do it, and make sure that you don't rush to do it. And make sure that you're not naive, and that you're not gullible. And a judge cannot be naive. The judge cannot be gullible. And the judge cannot have what? Husnul dhann. You can't think the best of people. Rather, oftentimes you may have to what? Think the worst. Be at least cautious, let alone suspicious. Sister Karima, I'm sure that you're heartbroken and your niqab is soaking wet. I'm sure. But you're still a human. There may be an ulterior motive. And I have to be careful because I'm representing Islam. Let alone I'm representing the masjid. Let alone I'm representing myself. And it is foolish for me to irresponsibly jump into a situation head first just off of husnul dhann. Understand it? So what I would advise, and Allah knows best, is number one, make sure that you have the proper knowledge. And if you don't have the proper knowledge, make sure that you're blindly following someone who's on the correct way. Number two is bring forth all of your proof and all of your evidence. The sister has to swear by Allah in front of witnesses, have a camera in the office, record the conversation, have two trustworthy witnesses. And the sister swears by Allah that I'm telling the truth. We need screenshots. What's your husband's phone number? We will call him right now at this time, 1 p.m. Then we're going to call him again at when? 4 p.m. We're going to call him again at what? 7 p.m. We're going to leave messages. We're going to wait 3 days. It's a process, a system in which the imam can say confidently, we've tried everything in our means to contact him, to bring him in, and to get the whole entire what? Side of the situation before we sign that paper and before we stamp that paper and say that the marriage is now annulled. If you're going to do it, then it has to be done with what? The proper way. And whatever complaint that a sister is making, my husband is gone. I've had a sister, she came to me once. She said, I haven't seen my husband in over 5 years. I said, what proof can you provide for that? Can you provide one dalil for that? One screenshot of a text message, one email, one thing that's been saved in iCloud or whatever? If you can't provide that, I can't help you out. Because you could be lying to me. You could be trying to set me up. You could be trying to get me into problems or trouble. Everyone understand this? And I don't need a disgruntled brother. I have enough of those. People hating on me. Just for what? Allah Mustaan, whatever the reason may be. So that's my advice. We're going to stop here tonight, bid'nillahi ta'ala. Hopefully we'll take it, the rest of the chapter in the next class. May Allah give the Muslims the success in these Western countries, and the Eastern countries as well. But we're talking about our countries. May Allah bless us and guide us to that which is correct. And may Allah rectify all of the marriages. And may Allah rectify all of the divorces. And allow us to follow the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That way we may enjoy happiness.